Apple's September event is just a few days away, and there is no doubt we're going to finally see the iPhone 13 officially announced. So I think that this is the perfect time to give the in-depth breakdown for everything that we expect to see from the iPhone 13 lineup based on everything that we've heard. So let's just go, and it starts obviously with the design, and there are no major changes expected other than a few subtle changes. The 4 models of the iPhone 13 lineup will have the same exact display sizes as the iPhone 12 lineup, starting with the 5.4-inch iPhone 13 mini, 6.1 inches for the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro, and 6.7 inches for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. You'll still have that same flat body, flat edges, and rounded corner design that is still harsher to hold compared to the iPhone 11 lineup. I mean, I just loved how that phone actually felt in hand. The thickness will reportedly increase by about 0.26 millimeters, and the iPhones will be slightly heavier due to larger internal batteries. Now, they're all expected to bring Super Retina, XDR OLED displays, and reports indicate that we will see the ProMotion 120Hz refresh rate from the iPad finally come to the Pro model iPhones. But I will have to say, I still don't think that ProMotion is going to make that significant of a difference on the smaller screen for most people. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be nice, and everyone upgrades for different reasons, but if ProMotion is the primary reason that you want to upgrade, I'm going to tell you might want to reconsider. Now, the display has also been rumored to have always-on capabilities like other phones have had for a few years, and even Apple's own Apple Watch does. People even felt that the glowing edges on the Apple logo and date from the Apple event invitation could be a hint at an always-on display, or it could have just been an invite with glowing edges on the Apple logo and date. Now, the notch returns for the 5th year. It's not going away yet, but a new design is expected to make it smaller. Purported leaked components have shown it's moving the speaker grill to the top edge, and that allows the Face ID sensors and front-facing camera to be pushed together, which would result in a smaller notch. Whee! Now let's talk about the internals before we get to the cameras, and like we do every year, we're expecting a faster A-series processor inside. Now this time, it would be using a new A15 Bionic processor using manufacturer TSMC's new 5nm Plus process, which is a performance-enhanced version that will bring even more power efficiency and performance improvements. So if you combine that with the reports of an even larger battery and more power efficiency, this could bring an even longer battery life or allocate just more juice to additional features like the always-on display. The iPhone 13 will also bring the new Snapdragon X60 3rd generation 5G modem that's built on the 5nm processor for, again, higher power efficiency and a smaller footprint compared to the previous chip. It will also be compatible with both flavors of 5G, so that's millimeter wave and sub-6 GHz bandwidths for better speeds and better coverage, especially with millimeter wave expanding internationally. We know that there were rumors that it could access satellite networks for emergencies, but that is not expected to happen in this year's iPhone 13, but it could potentially be turned on in a software update for the iPhone 13 lineup in the future. Now, we talked about the larger batteries, but if you're looking for a power boost, the new iPhones might support faster charging speeds for 25-watt power adapters. Reports say Apple could possibly sell one alongside the iPhone because, come on now, you know they will not include it in the box. What were you thinking? And then earlier reports claimed the iPhone 13 has a slightly larger wireless charging coil inside, and that could bring improved heat management and higher wattage, but also the possibility of reverse wireless charging. We know that last year MagSafe was just this huge point of emphasis, and slowly but surely we started to see some more accessories come out, but not as many as I thought. And if this really does have that much more battery juice, reverse wireless charging could finally come to the iPhone. Now, how often though have I used it on other phones? Not often, but I do still think it's a nice feature to have, and it's been on other phones for really several years already. There's also been rumblings that this iPhone could bring a 1TB storage capacity for the first time. That would be up from the current 512 gigs. A recent leaked capacity breakdown for the iPhone 13 showed no signs of a 1TB storage, so we're gonna have to wait and see. There just hasn't been enough credible confirmation, but it's been mentioned as a possibility, but maybe it's not happening. Now, I think the biggest potential for really the most exciting features for the iPhone 13, this is going to be all about the cameras. Now, reports say that the sensor shift stabilization that was only on the iPhone 12 Pro Max will finally come to the entire iPhone lineup. It absolutely made a noticeable difference in my walking shots when I compared an iPhone 12 Pro to an iPhone 12 Pro Max last year. But then it also just makes you wonder, if they're giving it to the entire lineup, could they have done that last year? I mean, they're putting it in the mini, all of a sudden just 1 year later. Just makes you wonder. Now, a Digitimes report claims the sensor shift image stabilization will come to both the wide and ultra wide camera lens. A lot of focus for this year will be on the Pro model's cameras with an upgraded ultra wide camera. This will bring an improved 6-element lens with an improved f1.8 aperture that will let in more light compared to the current f2.4 aperture. Now that's going to result in better low light performance for the ultra wide camera. The ultra wide is also expected to get autofocus and allow for sharper images no matter their distance from the lens. Reports also claim that the iPhone 13 Pro will get an upgraded telephoto lens that was found in the 12 Pro Max, so that bumps it up to a potential 2.5 optical zoom, but it's still nowhere close to what we've seen on other phones with 5x or 10x optical zoom with periscope lenses. Now we're still expecting a camera bump, but reports claim that that booty bump is expected to get even larger, while the camera lens themselves will protrude less compared to last year. There are reports of an astrophotography camera mode that would turn on when pointing the camera at the sky and allowing for night sky shots. Now, reports say it could be just maybe a night mode enhancement, but this is a mode that we'd be really happy to get, and again, already exists on other Android phones. Now, when it comes to video, the new iPhone 13 is expected to bring a new mode called Cinematic Video, which is a video version of the iPhone's portrait mode for stills. It would presumably use the LiDAR sensor for better accuracy, but it's the one feature that, as a content creator, I'm really curious about, because is it just going to look like a zoom video, or is it going to be really something special, more specific that we can play with? Apple plans to also add an option to record in the higher quality ProRes video format that's going to result in huge files, but then also give video editors a lot more control for color correction and editing in the post-production process. I like to think of it as bringing the ProRAW format for stills that we saw in last year's iPhone to Apple Video, but this again will also be limited to the Pro model iPhones, according to the reports. And when you look at all of the upgrades, it's clear that the ones that are going to potentially stand out the most are an improved battery and an improved camera system. We know the design won't really change, but then this reminds me really of the iPhone 11 Pro, a phone that I was expecting just to be like a ho-hum upgrade, but it excelled in battery life. Then its triple camera system was really special, and it became one of my favorite iPhones ever, alongside of, I'd honestly say, the very first iPhone and then the iPhone 4. So maybe, I'm just saying maybe, the iPhone 13 Pro has a chance to be that type of iPhone this year. Now let's also talk about what we do not expect to see on this year's iPhone 13 family, because what it won't bring might matter for some of you. People that were hoping for no notch, well, obviously, we're going to have to let it go for another year. Unless there's a miracle, that notch is coming back, but this time in a smaller form. But if there's still a notch in place, that also means an in-display Touch ID fingerprint scanner is not coming to the iPhone 13. In fact, a recent Bloomberg report claims Apple's plan for the iPhone lineup moving forward is to actually move away from Touch ID entirely and focus on Face ID. For them, the priority is to get the Face ID sensors to live really kind of under the surface of the screen so the notch can eventually go away. So they could bring Touch ID to the power button in the future, and we've seen that they've done it on the iPad Air, and other phones have had that same tech, but all indications are that Apple just doesn't care about an in-display Touch ID sensor for future iPhones. This also looks to be the last year that we'll see the iPhone mini, according to multiple reports. Moving forward, Apple will discontinue the mini as of next year, and then we'll go with two 6.1 versions of the iPhone and then two 6.7-inch versions of the iPhone. So if you want a mini, this could be the last time that we see it in the lineup. Now, a lot of you might have seen the iPhone 14 leaks from Jon Prosser, and yes, that is still a year out, and yes, you can believe them or not, but maybe it changes how you feel about the iPhone 13 lineup if everything turns out to be true. It looks amazing with kind of this modern take on the retro classic iPhone 4, no notch, no camera bump. This is really a true next generation leap for the iPhone, and you can check out the video on my channel, but again, it is still a year out. So there you have it. That's everything we've heard and expect to see from the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro family. There's obviously a lot packed in here, and no matter what we've heard, nothing is official until we hear it directly from Apple. And, you know, that's what makes an Apple event so much fun to watch. You got to see when it happens. And, you know, I'll be having my BTZ live stream coverage with my pre-show, the keynote, and my post-show coverage. And you can come to my channel on Tuesday, September the 14th, where I'll start up before the keynote, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to take your calls, take your tweets, and the keynote starts at 10 a.m. Pacific. So, are you excited about the Apple event? Because we're also expecting to see not only the iPhones, the new Apple Watch Series 7, new AirPods 3, and possibly an entry-level iPad. We're going to see if it all happens, but let me know, what announcement is the most important for you? Put in the comments. We all have different ideas, and then when the actual keynote happens, sometimes that changes. But that's going to do it for this video. If you like what you see, you know what to do. Give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my videos when they drop. And if you want more goodness, you can check out my Applebits XL audio podcast to get all the latest deep dive with these stories and new ones every week with special guests. We are just a few days away, and it's a perfect way to kick off Techtember. So I'll see you next time. Take care and be safe. Peace and love.